Hello and welcome back to the Irish Mammy channel. We are in the polytunnel today. We're going to get a few more jobs ticked off the list. So the first thing I want to do is plant out my brassicas. They've been sitting in their trays for quite a while now. It's time they got out. Then I want to do small harvest, which I'm really excited for. One of the first big harvests. Well, one of the first harvests of the year. I did try harvesting some potatoes yesterday evening. I was little disappointed, but I'll just leave the rest of the plants to continue on and produce more potatoes. So I was up here yesterday evening. I got a good few jobs done yesterday evening as well. It's just that busy time of year now in the garden where well, I need to be everywhere. I need to be here in the polytunnel, I need to be at home in the outside beds, I need to get my potatoes planted in ridges, I need to sow more seeds. So I need to make bits of myself and get all the jobs done, but we can only do them one job at a time. So yesterday evening I got some jobs done up here. I just want to show you what I got done. So mostly I worked on these two beds here, so this one and that one there in the middle where you can see the black plastic on. So this bed I had to remove the Mypex from this bed, and I added lots of fertilizer to it. I added my seaweed manure, which I will show you. So this is my seaweed manure. It's a product that Quick Crop supply. It's a mix of seaweed and manure, would you know. It's a high nitrogen feed. It also has potassium and phosphorus in small amounts, and trace elements of course from the seaweed. Then I also added my blood fish and bone, or fish blood and bone is the proper name of it. It also contains both NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, with a little bit of calcium as well, but it's high in phosphorus, which is good for root growth, root development. So using both of those leaves my soil high in nitrogen and high in phosphorus, which is what I think these will need more of. So this is my sweet corn, if I didn't say that already. Finally got it planted out. A lot of sweet corn planted this year. There's 64 plants in there. Now I'm wondering if I've been over ambitious putting 4 across in that row, but I think the soil can handle it, and well, look, time will tell. So I've had a few disappointing harvests of sweet corn over the last couple of years. I'm hoping this is the year that I get a good yield of sweet corn, because I could really do with topping up the freezer with sweet corn. Of course I love to eat this fresh, but there's just a very small window where you can eat fresh sweet corn. So I will not be able, like I said, 64 plants, potentially 2 ears of corn per plant. I will not be able to eat that much sweet corn without making myself sick, even with a family of 6. So the aim will be, yes, some fresh eating of sweet corn, but the rest will go to the freezer. So let's hope that works out. And then the next bed down here, I was preparing it as well. So this one had no Mypex on it. So I obviously lifted the drip out of the way. I fertilized this the same as well with the seaweed manure and the blood fish and bone. And now these beds had not been fertilized in, I'd say, maybe 2 years. So they were topped up with EnviroGrind in the beginning, and you know, EnviroGrind compost itself is quite high in nutrients. So that has done me for quite a while. But I have found maybe the soil starting to lack a little bit, and really don't want to start shoveling compost in again this year, maybe next year. So I've been using fertilizers just to help it along. So yeah, the Mypex then had to go down on this, and then I burned holes in it, and I'm also wondering if I've been over ambitious with 5 rows across on this. So this is the bed that the brassicas are going in. I don't think I said that already. So all my cauliflower, broccoli and cabbage is going in here. And this will be, you know, my main summer harvest, but I will have more of all of those plants going in different beds as I harvest different vegetables. I can't remember exactly where I've planned for the brassicas to go in, but there will be brassicas going in different beds for overwintering, and they'll be probably going in mid to late summer. I'll be planting those to get them well underway for harvesting over the winter. And I have spoken about that before. So that's the 2 jobs I got done yesterday. I'm not sure if I'll get to it today, but I have all my squash plants over there. So that's the bed they're going in. I'm not going to put all those plants into that bed. But I'll make a good go of it. I am also going to put some squash in along with these sweet corn. So there's a method of growing called the Three Sisters, and it's a method that the Native Americans would have used, where they grew sweet corn. They wouldn't have grown sweet corn, but corn plants, more than likely dent corn, they'd have grown for drying and turning into flour. But corn nonetheless, and I mean they're all similar, they just have different uses. So they grew corn, and then they grew beans that climbed up the sweet corn or the corn stalks, and they also grew pumpkins or squash, which covered all the bare soil in between and helped keep the weeds down. And those 3 plants work kind of symbiotically, as in they all provide nutrients for each other or some benefits for each other. So the corn is a legume, and it would provide nitrogen, so it fixes nitrogen on its roots. So it was going to provide nitrogen for the beans and for the squash or pumpkins. The squash and pumpkins shaded out the ground to prevent weeds growing, and then, well, the beans just made use of the stalks of the corn, I suppose. They would have also fixed nitrogen as well, I'm just thinking. So anyway, the 3 plants work in a symbiotic relationship, and I am not doing the Three Sisters method. I won't put the beans in here, but I often grow by a method, I do call it the Irish twins, because it's just 2 plants. I grow the sweet corn, and I also grow the squash or pumpkins in between. And I've done this a couple of times, works quite well. So I will be planting some squash just on the outside, and hopefully it will grow through and help keep the weeds down. That's the plan. But yeah, the rest of the squash, or some of the squash, will go there. I will have definitely some extra plants for giving away. So that's always part of the plan, plants to give away. So my little harvest, well, it'll be a medium harvest, we'll call it. Can't decide yet whether it's a big harvest or a small harvest. But it will be broccoli. So I got these planted out. I'd say it was January I planted these. I'm not entirely sure. So these were actually sown last August or September and left lying in trays, which I do quite often, more often than I care to admit. Finally got them in the ground in January, and actually, if you remember, I had more brassica plants over there. They were all the same sowing, and the cabbage all went to seed. But the broccoli went in here, and I have a few heads of broccoli. I haven't explored it just quite enough to figure out exactly how much I have. But definitely one nice big head there, and there's more over there. You can see there's lots of weeds growing here as well, even with the mypex down. But anyway, there's a harvest there of broccoli. Some of that will be for fresh eating, and depending on how much I actually get out of it, some of it may be blanched and frozen, which is what I do with a lot of my broccoli. Because I grow it in this amount, I think there's about 20 plants here, and they're all going to come to harvest in, the space of 2 or 3 weeks. They'll all be ready to harvest. So I'm not going to eat 20 plants of broccoli, although we possibly could. With a family of 6, you wouldn't be long getting through 20 heads of broccoli in 2 or 3 weeks. But I will draw the line somewhere, and some of it definitely will go to the freezer. And again, more broccoli on its way. That's what I will be planting down in this middle bed, more broccoli, and there'll be several sows of broccoli. But look, here is my shame, lest anyone think I have it all together in the garden. This is supposed to be a bed of onions, and it's a bed of weeds. think this is the type of dandelion. I'm not entirely sure exactly what it is. It's most likely dandelions, and it's most likely from, you know, the dandelions all along the edge of the polytunnel that I just cannot get rid of because they're in such an awkward place. I can't get them pulled out. But I did try. I have an organic weed killer that I bought to try out, a ready to use organic safe weed killer, and it did knock them back somewhat. Didn't kill them altogether, and I didn't expect that, but maybe if I keep them knocked back, it might stop so many seeds. Like, I mean, look, you can see them seed heads down there, like they're just blowing everywhere. So this is why I use Mypex on my beds, and you can see even with the Mypex there's weeds growing, like, you know, out of the holes that's in the Mypex. That's chickweed, I think, and there's what do I call that? Willow herb, yeah, willow herb, more of a back there. I think it's willow herb's time to shine at the minute. It's starting to come thick and fast. But yeah, so this is why I use Mypex. There's absolutely no way I could keep on top of the weeds on my own in this polytunnel and keep my other garden at home. I mean, it's a lot as it is to keep on top of, but I mean, this is just, I have 2, 3, 4 beds, 5 beds uncovered here, and it's nearly more than I can handle. So I'm going to get I'm not going to bring you along for the weeding because, you know, that's just a bore, but I wanted to show you the reality. So I got up here one evening during the week and I got about 20 minutes weeding done there, so you can see where the onions are. And onions especially do not need weed pressure. They will not grow well with weed pressure. So I need to get that done ASAP because I need a good onion harvest this year. This next bed needs weeding as well, and we only weeded that not so long ago. I think I had that in a video. I certainly had it on Instagram if I didn't have it on a YouTube video. So I have carrots at the front here and a few radishes. 1 or 2 of them I see going to seed. They need to be harvested as well. But I had this completely clear, and now look at it again, more dandelions. So we need to get that weeded again, and I see willow herb coming up over there as well. Like I said, it must be willow herb's time to shine. I mean, all weeds have a natural time where they appear in the garden and go mad, hell for leather, producing seed. So this obviously is willow herb's time. So I need to get that redone again, and a few more lines of carrots put there. That probably won't be on this video. And then here's the next bed of shame. So there's celery and leeks and radishes and beetroot, spring onions in there somewhere. I mean, the spring onions are probably lost now at this stage, I would imagine. But this is the reality. I certainly don't want anyone thinking I have it all together in the garden. There's potatoes self-seeded there, and they've been coming up for years in this bed. I cannot seem to get rid of them. Then at the front here I have chervil and lettuce. The lettuce they're all ready for pulling out at this stage, which is good because I do need lettuce at home. So I'm going to pull the lettuce out all together. I'll pull the chervil as well. Oh, look at my little friend. And I seen a bee there a minute ago as well, taking a wee rest. Where did he go to? Oh yeah, I see him there now. Nice little fluffy bee. I love to see them little pollinators, and the ladybirds definitely help with greenfly. Let's hope I don't have any actual greenfly, but something's keeping them going because I've seen loads of little ladybirds here. Every time I come in there's ladybirds. Anyway, squirrel. Easily distracted by the pollinators. So yeah, you can see there's loads of potatoes volunteering here in this bed, and this weed, and I don't know the name of it, but it is an absolute scourge, and it's only in this bed, and it spreads under the ground like rhizomes nearly, or not rhizomes, but it vines under the ground. It's nearly like bindweed, the way it spreads, but it's impossible to get it out. Like, I have pulled and pulled and pulled this numerous times in this bed, and it just keeps coming back. It's definitely persistent, to say the least. Chickweed in there. There's always chickweed in every bed. And over here you can see the way the chickweed grows. So it's just growing along. So there's supposed to be peas in this bed. They're not in it yet. But this is why peas cannot thrive in this bed, because it's just full of chickweed. And you can see it sprouts along the emitter holes of the drip. But I really need to get that pulled out, because it's starting to go to flower. You can see tiny little flowers there. And once that starts, the next thing will be seeds. And I mean, that's why it is so bad, because it was allowed to go to seed before. Anyway, loads of weeding to be done. Like I said, I'm not bringing you along for that, but I do want to show you the reality. So the first job I'm going to do is plant my brassicas up here. So this is my tray of brassicas, and I have to actually remind myself even what I grew in here. Meh. Oh, so I sprouting broccoli in here. Forgot about that. That won't be going in here today. Summer sprouting broccoli, that might go in. Oh, what else have I in here? Okay, so I have cabbage, earliest of all cabbage. I have golden acre cabbage. I have cauliflower, snowball cauliflower, 2 rows of that, and Iron Man broccoli, 2 rows of that, and then I have summer purple sprouting broccoli as well as Rudolph and Red Arrow. So those are sprouting broccolis that won't come to fruition until next year. And I can't remember where I had planned on putting those in, but we'll get our cauliflower and our broccoli, calabrese broccoli, and our cabbage in today. So I've been trying to show you, but my camera has not been cooperating very well. But this is my cabbage brassica plant. I'm going to remove that, you can see. And in general, these plants are in need of nutrition, just to add that as well. So some of these plants will be definitely happy to get into the soil. But I wanted to show you that the stalks have got quite long on these cabbages, and that's fairly normal for cabbages, but you can bury these plants quite deep. So I'm going to leave that leaf on. You see, I took the other leaf off, and I'm going to bury it up to that point there in the soil. It'll just leave the plant more sturdy. Now, it's not very windy in the polytunnel, but definitely if you were growing these outside, the wind would have that rocking over and back, you know, because it's quite weak down there at that point. But I will still bury it down quite deep, even in the polytunnel. Help anchor it in the ground better. And that can be done with any brassicas. I see my sprouting broccolis are even leggier, so they'll be buried down well as well whenever I actually plant them out. Probably what I'm going to do with my sprouting broccolis is pot them on at home. I had even forgot that I had sprouting broccolis in here. And maybe if I could figure out where I was going to plant them, that'd be helpful as well. So there we are, all the brassicas are planted now. Really and truly it's a quick enough job when you get to it. I'd say 20 minutes done that. So when you have plug plants, the planting isn't actually the hard bit, it's the bed prep takes the longest really, and that's what makes me put it off and put it off and put it off. But I do eventually get around to it. So there is some method to the way I planted. I'll take you along and I'll just show you exactly what I done. So I suppose something that comes with experience is knowing how these plants grow. And broccoli is probably one of the taller plants of these plants that I put in, or brassica plants that I put in today. So on the outside I put all my cabbage. So the one on this one is earliest of all cabbage. So obviously that's going to be a fast grower. And hopefully I'll have that in 6 to 8 weeks. And then it'll be out and it'll just give the broccoli that bit more room. And I'm not really on top, you'll not see it, but it's just root room is the main thing that I want it to have. So it'll have room to put out its roots even further and gather more nutrition, because obviously it needs a lot of nutrition to support such a big plant. So there's the next row in is the broccoli, and I think 4 plants on that third row in, or the middle row, is broccoli as well. And the variety of broccoli I'm growing this time is Iron Man, and I go through several different broccoli varieties. Iron Man is one, and I think they're all F1 varieties. I've found that for calabrese broccoli, which I suppose I should probably explain a little. So this is something that I learned very early on as a vegetable grower, that the broccoli we buy in the shop, what we call broccoli, is actually, when you're growing it as a vegetable, it's calabrese. So it's just one of those little things that's confusing, and especially for us here in Ireland, we like to confuse ourselves with vegetable names. But the broccoli head, what we buy in the shop, is actually calabrese. When you're a gardener and looking for seeds to grow those vegetables, you'll be looking for calabrese. And broccoli is sprouting broccoli, and there's actually a couple of different types of sprouting broccoli. So there's green sprouting broccoli, which produces, as far as I know, it produces like in the same length of time as your ordinary calabrese. So within 8 to 12 weeks you'll start getting broccoli sprouts from green sprouting broccoli. Purple sprouting broccoli, it actually takes roughly about 12 months to get a crop out of that. But what's useful about purple sprouting broccoli is it comes to harvest at a time when there's not actually a lot growing in the garden. So you're talking about March, April, May time. So if I plant purple sprouting broccoli now in May or June, maybe even into July, I won't get a harvest until next March, April, May time. And it's very useful at that time. Now it's hard to plan well enough to get it in the ground now when you're not going to get a harvest for pretty much almost 12 months. But it is a great reward in 12 months time when you've nothing else coming from the garden, if you have purple sprouting broccoli producing. And then there's another variety of which I have some here. Some of my sprouting broccoli I had forgot, is summer purple sprouting broccoli. And that's actually a purple sprouting broccoli that will produce this year. So it gets a little bit confusing when it comes to broccoli and calabrese and all that, but experience lets you know when to plant and what to plant. And I have all here. Now I haven't put out my regular sprouting broccoli. I haven't planted it. Like I said, I'm going to pop that on. I actually forget, and I need to check my plan. I forget where I had planned to put that. Now I have one bed free over here. Where am I? Here. So my plan is to put popcorn in there. So it's a type of corn that I think it's actually called flint corn, that you allow to dry and harvest the seeds, and they potentially will be popcorn. And I've been trying to do this for several years, and I have grown the seed before and then not put it in the ground. So I don't know, it's kind of a novelty thing, and I'm not sure I'm actually going to do it. But if I have no plan for my sprouting broccoli, that is where it will end up. And that could end up being a catch-all bed for all the things that I had no plan for. Anyway, I'm going to go through this, show you exactly what I've planted where. So like I said, this outer row is the earliest of all cabbage. That's the variety name, earliest of all. The next row in is my Ironman broccoli, calabrese broccoli. And that goes into the third row there. The first 4 plants are Ironman broccoli. Then I'm into the cauliflower, and the variety of cauliflower is Snowball. And again, I have several different varieties of cauliflower that I grow over the year. So this one just happens to be Snowball. And so that goes to the end of the row and into the 4th row, all the way up to, where did I put my marker? Oh, yeah, up to there. Then I had some empty holes and realised that one of my sprouting broccolis was summer purple sprouting broccoli. So I've put, where let's see, there, 1, 2, 3 plants. Where let's see, where am I? There, 1, 2, 3 plants. Now they actually were, I had sown summer purple and it didn't sprout. It was really old seeds, so I had to re-sow that. So those plugs are like tiny. You can barely see them there at all. And I will definitely, because they're so young, I'm definitely going to have to put down slug pellets. And I do use slug pellets in the garden. I make sure that they're organic friendly and safe for the birds, because that is the biggest problem, one of the problems with slug pellets, as well as obviously be putting them on edible food. We don't really want to get those chemicals into you, but the ones that are suitable for organic garden are just basically a type of iron, ferrous sulfate or something like that, I think is what it's called. So that's not as bad, and if it saves the plants and gets you to actually harvest and eat the vegetable, then that's a necessary thing in my book. I like to grow organically, and they are organic friendly, but I also try to do without using chemicals when I can. But that's one thing I will use, certainly at the beginning of the season, when plants are young and just going out and slugs are very hungry. So then I have actually a couple of empty holes there as well, and another one on this side, and they're perfect for slotting in a few plants. So I have cucumbers that I have yet to find room for, and so I'll probably put some cucumbers in there. Could even sneak a squash in there, we'll see. Or I could sneak another tomato plant, because I'm so badly in need of more tomato plants. Oh gosh, this gardening can be an addiction sometimes. And then the outer row there, because it's cabbage as well. You see, cabbage obviously grows smaller, whereas cauliflower and broccoli produce tall plants. So the cauliflower doesn't get as tall, but it does produce huge big long leaves. So that's why I have it grown in there in the centre, and then the cabbages on the outer rows, because they're shorter. But the cabbages are also going to be harvested earlier. What is the variety of that cabbage? I'm trying to think. So I've earliest of all on this side, and I have Golden Acre on the other side. Yeah, so that will be a second harvest of cabbage, Golden Acre. It has a nice big head to the centre of it, so that'll be great in the summer, maybe for coleslaw, which I have yet to grow a good variety of cabbage for coleslaw, but I suppose any cabbage will do really. So that's the plan. And then just on this end, I think I put 2 more summer purple plants. Like I said, they're tiny, you can barely see them, and I still have 2 spaces free there for tomatoes, squash, cucumber. Who knows, there'll be something snuck in there anyway. We'll not let them spaces go to waste. Okay, so now that we have the hard part done, it's time to do a fun job. So I'm going to take into harvesting the broccoli now, and let's see how much we can actually get out of it. Okay, so not quite the big harvest I was expecting, but I have got 4 nice lovely heads. But I did want to show you, when you do harvest the main stem of your calabrese broccoli, it'll actually start to produce more of these type of shoots, and they'll actually turn into small heads as well if you're patient enough to wait on them. And last year I know I got a significantly bigger harvest of broccoli, calabrese broccoli, by being patient and letting them go on to produce new shoots. So I've heard them called side shoots before, as if they're only small shoots of broccoli, but what my broccoli was producing last year after I harvested this main stem was another head of broccoli. And I was very impressed with the variety, and this is the same variety. I think this is Marathon F1. This is the variety that was producing loads of huge big side shoots, which were essentially more heads of broccoli. So 4 nice size heads. There were more, definitely, but I decided they would grow significantly more if I waited another wee while. But there's 4 nice heads of broccoli there. That's certainly enough for the week for dinner, for a family of 6. So yeah, I'm happy with that harvest, and like I said, there'll be lots more broccoli coming out of those 20 plants over the next few weeks. So that's the main jobs of the day done. All I want to get done now is the weeding, and I also need to water in my brassica plants that I've just planted. So I'm going to leave you at that and continue on with my own little chores, as they call them. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you could hit the like button down below, I'd very much appreciate it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.